Okay, cool. So, hey everyone. My name's Taylor. When I play music, it's called Here Be Monsters. I am making this video because I got a request for sort of a how-to instruction deal on my cover of Mischief Brew's Olde Tyme Mem'ry. So it's actually kind of funny because I remember when I originally got when I got the request, I was like, oh, well, it's a couple of chords. It's not that hard a song to play. And then the more I sat down preparing to make this video, I realized, oh, there's actually a lot of stuff that I put into this that I guess I just didn't realize I was doing. So this is going to be more of an in-depth tutorial than I had originally planned. But I'm just going to try and take you through it sort of piece by piece to give you an idea of like how this whole thing works. So I'm going to start out just right at the beginning. This is played with the capo put on the 3rd fret. I do that mainly just because I don't have quite as low a voice as Eric does. I think he actually plays it just in the regular D. I'm playing it technically in F, but you're playing it very much in the D shapes. So you're playing, the main chords are D, G, B minor, and A chord shapes, but it would actually be, I think, F, B flat, D minor, and C, if I'm doing the math right on that. Just for reference, I'm going to refer to these mainly as the shapes. So when I say, like the D, I'm referring to this, not that, even though this is technically a D. I'm going to refer to just according to the shape. If it's easier for you, you can learn it without the capo on, and then it'll make more sense, and then just, take what you learn here and slap a capo on whatever fret works for your voice. But, okay, cool. So that being said, the song starts out kind of low and slow. It's all right, so let's walk through that really quick. We're on the top 2 strings, and we're starting at the 5th fret on the A. So in this case, it's actually an F, but again, it would be a D. And what you're doing here, the technique is mainly in the right hand, and that's going to be the case for a lot of what we do in this song. You are flicking with your index finger, and then you are hitting the guitar with your thumb, right? The thumb hits are at a consistent, it's just in half-time intervals as you're doing this. Where it gets a little bit challenging is that you hit the actual notes in kind of an offbeat way. And it reflects the overall chord changes for the entirety of the song. But so you're going F, F. So it's F, B flat, D, C. So it's so the notes are just a little bit off from just doing it on the 1. You're switching between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're hitting on like the 3.5 for these sort of intermittent notes that are linking between the other ones. Now, once you've got this down, you can start adding lyrics. When father bought the farm, we sold the farm, mistook his blood for rustic charm, sold his ghost as an antique, to the city. Right. And so this is sort of how the intro to the song goes. It's the first little bit of complicated stuff that I put into this song without realizing that it's actually a little bit harder to do than I was giving it credit for. Now we get into the first chorus. So the chord progression here is really simple. I don't do anything super fancy here. But it's just, come sit down, we're lamenting about yesterday's sad ending, about the water in me whiskey, the brass passed off as gold, another round. So it's D, G, D, G, B minor, G, B minor, G, A, D. Now, I will say some things you can do to make this progression a little bit more interesting. These are things that I've kind of added on to that chorus. You can, on this top string, you can add on that third fret if you're feeling spicy about it. Another thing that I do a lot in this song, and that it might be a good idea to familiarize yourself with early on, is when I hit this G, it's a two-fingered chord. I'm not using my pinky. I'm not using my index finger. I'm just using the third fret, or in this case, sorry, with the capo, it's actually the 6th fret, but on the E string. So I'm hitting that B flat, and then I'm hitting, what would this be? An F on both of these. And that's making this kind of dissonant G chord that you can use throughout the song. Gives it a really pretty kind of ethereal feel, and it's a good way to sort of switch up a song that, you know, is otherwise just sort of cowboy chords. So the rhythm is also pretty easy. It's really just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're kind of alternating between hitting the strings in total with your hands here, and hitting whatever the root note is with your thumb, right? So it sounds like. And then again, we can just kind of add those lyrics once you're feeling comfortable with this. Come sit down, we're lamenting about yesterday's sad ending, about the water in me whiskey, the brass passed off as gold, another round. We're descending into old time memory of a day when wood was wooden, silver, silver, gold was gold, sweet home was home. Okay, so now in that sort of interlude between chorus and verse, I am doing some individual picking here. It's not super complicated, but it's just... It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're really just getting that. You just want to hit those notes sort of at that right interval. And you can kind of create that illusion, even if you don't do it just straight finger picking. You can sort of do it even if you're melding it with full chords. So I don't do anything super special for the second verse. It's going to follow that same progression as what we did in the first verse. The only difference here is now we've switched to doing full chords on it. So you say you got a wood stove in your second home. It runs on gas but looks like oak. Hell, it even gives off smoke and glowing embers. There's a quilt hung on the wall, reads Home Sweet Home, below some wise words from Thoreau. and they call me throwback when I cry, remember. Come sit down, we're lamenting. So this is really about how you want to do the second verse. Honestly, it's kind of a freestyle for the second one. I tend to kind of switch between doing full chords and doing this kind of intermittent finger picking. So you say you got a wood stove in your second home, runs on gas but looks like oak. Hell, it even gives off smoke and glowing embers. So it's a lot of this. It's really about just kind of what feels natural, like to the hand. What I would say is a big challenge in acoustic stuff in general is trying to restrain yourself early on so that you can slowly build up to a bigger thing. So I might recommend if you go this route, keep it soft. And that way, when you hit the chorus and the final verse at the end, it really sounds like you're, going at it. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. The second chorus repeats the exact same as the first. I don't need to go into that again. But now we get into the more technical part of the song, which is the solo. And this is actually where I got the specific request here. They wanted to know how I did this. So I'll play it once just to make sure that I know what I'm doing. Okay, so a little bit complicated, a little more involved than the next bits here. So I'm just going to break it down piece by piece. So you're starting out with a D chord, and it's that same kind of open high E D that we had earlier in the song. You can use that to your advantage a lot in this cover. What you're going to start with is you're going to be taking your pinky and you are putting it on the, not the 5th fret, it's the 8th fret. It's the 5th fret with the capo. So that's on the C. So to put it in just the single notes, so it's 5 5 5 3 2 0 2. So, and then you're doing that basically just over the chord. One of the big challenges of this solo is you're blending the chords and the lead line, and you're doing your best to play both at the same time. So again, 5 5 5 3 2 0 2, and then when you hit the 2, you're hitting the B minor chord at that point. So it's 5 5 5 3 2 0 2, and then you're going into that B minor shape. Now, there's probably a lot of different ways to do this one. I prefer to completely leave. Normally, of course, you would have it barred here. The problem is that the next movement up here on this lead line is so 2 3 2 0 2 0. 3 on the B string. So it's hard to do that if you're barring. You can, of course, move the middle finger up here, but then you're sacrificing that third, which is kind of important to the B minor chord. So I prefer to just finger the B this way. If you go with the B minor, starting on the 5th and then moving up, that allows your index finger that ability to move up to that third. So one more time. 5 5 3 2 5 5 5 3 2 0 2 2 3 2 0 2 0 3 on the B string. So to be clear, these bottom, all of the melody so far has really just been changing between these 3 frets. Otherwise, your lower fingers are completely static. And that's sort of the point. That's how you create the illusion of doing this lead line along with the chord. And then we're going to switch to the G. Okay, so... So 0 2 0 3 0. Okay, cool. And then you're just going straight to the A. There's no secret to that particular bit. So just to make sure, I'm going to play it really slow one last time, and then we're going to move on to the next part of the solo. All right. And now what we're doing is we're just mimicking the melody of the chorus, right? Come sit down, we're lamenting. And we're doing it with the exact same root chords that we were doing in the chorus, right? So, come sit down, we're lamenting, D, D, G. We're doing the same thing here, but we're just adding in that lead line for the melody. And this is where that open G I was telling you about before with the open E is going to come in super handy. So, and then you come up to the 5 and back down to the G, right? Then about the B minor, G, now this is where it gets tricky. The ground, da, 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 da. So what you're doing here, you're doing this line where it actually goes down the strings of that B minor chord. Normally the melody we've kept has been up here, and these strings haven't become a part of that melody, but now we're getting to that point. This last bit is tricky even for me. I mess it up all the time. Okay. Okay, yeah, so what you're doing is B minor shape. Let's actually just use a different fingering here. So you're going down to that 3rd on the B string, and then you're playing the B string open. That's what I was messing up. And when you go back onto the 3rd, that's when you're switching on to the G. So it's... And then you're doing that hammer on to the back to the D chord, right? So it's Now up to here, we're just repeating the same thing in the chorus a second time. This outro for the solo gets a little bit complicated as well, because again, we're going back to that B minor shape. But we're going to have a tough time doing the whole chord on here and still making it sound like the chord that we need. So what we're doing is we're actually eliminating notes. Up until this point, it's really been about blending the chord and the lead line. But here, it's just root note and lead line. So it's B, G, and then you're hitting the A at the same time that you're hitting that hammer on, right? So G, A, D. That's actually one of the hardest parts in the whole solo because it's completely different from the way that you play the rest of the song. We're doing root notes and we're doing these lead lines. All right, so I'm going to walk through this one more time. We're going to see if I can play it right. All right. Now here, we're going back to that very light finger picking for son, these tools are artifacts, endangered species left its tracks. Now, for this finger picking bit, I'm a little bit more strict on myself when I play this bit because we're about to go into that really heavy, but I'll never understand why they all long. And so the quieter you play this part, the heavier the next bit is going to sound. Where are you going to get the best view on this? So we're doing this kind of rhythm, and then we're switching the chords. Son, these tools are artifacts, endangered species left its tracks. Lock me up behind plastic glass. Man, for a tutorial, I'm really messing this song up. Sorry. Son, these tools are artifacts, endangered species left its tracks. Lock me up behind plastic glass in the city. There's no going back from me. This antique's rustic eulogy shall be sold as folk artistry. What a pity. And then you're cutting that A short. And with that, we are almost done here. The last thing that I added onto this without really thinking about it is the addition of percussive playing, where you're mimicking a bass drum and a snare drum at the same time you're doing this melody. The good news is, as far as the chords, you're just playing the chords. So the left hand that's like the end of the left hand stuff. What you're doing now, though, is you are going... I don't know if the mic is picking this up, but so basically what you're doing here is at the same time that you're flicking your fingers to hit that, you're also bringing your palm down. So it's a very flamboyant motion, where you're flicking your fingers out, but you're also bringing that palm down to hit the body of your guitar. It takes a little bit of practice, but when you get it, it sounds like... The snare technique is you're slapping your thumb against the strings. That's really all that it is. It takes a little bit of work to get it to a point where it feels comfortable. So if it doesn't sound good immediately, just keep working at it. Find what feels right. Find what feels natural. But those are the two techniques. So if I was gonna, let me see if I can position myself a little bit better for you to see this here. So this is kind of what I'm doing. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so, and then all you're doing there is you're just matching that with the chords. But I'll never understand why they all long to use those hands to build a stead that will always stand in old time country. Settle for wide rooms and hollow doors, paper ceilings, padded floors, luxury boxes. Luxury boxes where you're stored in what was country. And then for that build up, you're not using the snare technique at all. It's all, what a pity. Or, settle for tunes, hollow doors, maybe ceilings, padded floors. Luxury boxes where you're stored in what was country. So you're just going, it's all that bass drum sound, right? And then it's the same chorus that you played before. You can mix those open chords to make it sound a little bit more open if you want, but then just adding that same bass and drum technique. So come sit down, we're lamenting about yesterday's sad ending, about the water in me whiskey, the brass passed off as gold, another round. We're descending into old time memory of a day when wood was wood, silver, silver, gold was gold, sweet home was home. All right. So that is basically how you play my cover of what's the name of the song? Of Olde Tyme Mem'ry by Mischief Brew. It's one of my favorite songs, has been for a really long time. I'm glad that you guys have enjoyed it. But yeah, if you have any further questions, let me know in the comments. I am more than happy to give any further pointers. Sorry if this was a little bit of a longer video than I usually do, but keep your eyes out. I have some fun covers and stuff coming up, and some fun news about new music that's going to be coming your way soon. Thanks so much, y'all, and take care.